guys, this is part of a new series that I will be doing on the British Touring Car Championship, and mainly focusing on the super tiers of the 90s. Obviously most would agree it was a really good age for touring cars. We might move on to some other series and different times, but for now we're just going to start with 90s. So as the video title says, this is the 1994 Ford Mondeo front wheel drive that was raced by Andy Rouse Engineering, or Andy Rouse, his team Andy Rouse Engineering. He didn't win the championship, but he drove that car in 1994. What's more interesting perhaps is in 95 Charlie Cox went into touring cars, and he bought the car and ran it ran it as his own privateer outfit. Of course, 95 there were big grids, and hence there were some big crashes. Of course, this is something that Charlie is often remembered for, which is perhaps unfair, as he has had race wins in many other Premier British series. So I'll just read on Wikipedia what it says about the incident and the 95 touring car. Of course, this crash was a really heavy one. It's on YouTube. If I'm not using it on this video, you can have a look. Thruxton, one of the fastest circuits, if not the fastest, certainly for average speed, and he had an off at one of the fastest corners on the track. Probably not entirely his fault, you know, like I said, it's unfortunate because people remember it, but it was a wet track, and he was obviously, maybe he was pushed off because the only camera view we got was where he was already rolling off the track. Touring cars, and this is what I like about touring cars, is that there is a bit of panel bashing. Very fast corner, yeah, you don't want to crash there. So he could have been really badly hurt, but touring cars, you know, they've got quite strong roll cages, and so for 95 Cox moved to the British Touring Car Championship in a Ford Mondeo for his recently formed Thames Ford dealer team, with sponsorship from the Evening Standard newspaper. He caused a sensation in a wet race early in the season by finishing 5th, although behind both works Fords, choosing the correct tyres and recovering from an early spin. However, a huge barrel rolling crash at Thruxton left him with concussion and caused him to miss several races. When he returned, it was a hatchback Mondeo, making him the first driver to race one in the BTCC. He raced occasionally in sports cars subsequently, as well as appearances at the Bathurst 1000. So yeah, he was actually at one point a professional racing driver. Charlie, obviously we know him more for the BBC Two MotoGP coverage, where he was commentating alongside Steve Parish, and he actually did start commentating alongside Murray Walker in '97. Definitely a good commentator. On the motorbikes, like, he had just a lot of enthusiasm for it, which isn't easy, because obviously isn't hard, because obviously MotoGP often has very good racing. So anyway, yeah, so he had to take time out after that. The car was actually, it says bits of it was salvaged. The integral parts was still, like, kind of, I guess they probably had to do a few spot welds there, but they salvaged some of it, and I think they used some of the internal parts on the car that he made the return on. So yeah, interesting story about that. Obviously that car was driven previous in '94 by Andy Rouse, did pretty good there. This one, no, I mean that was a very dramatic death for the Mondeo there. Check, I think that'll be all. Out my games for sale in the description. And stay safe, everyone.